Hello, what is up? I hope you can hear me okay. I'm going to turn my desktop audio up just a bit so we can hear some volume from the matches. Welcome. Sorry it took a long time to get started. I want to make sure I am fully prepared and I'm pretty much ready. So if you haven't seen our podcast before, I'm going to be breaking down the matches from the in-house tournament. There were quite a few matches, not too many, but I think there was some interesting lessons to be learned from our matches. If you were in the matches, please, I want you to know that I will do my best to give you my honest opinions about technique or about training. I want to make sure that I'm always nice about people's wins and losses, but also really honest. I want to make sure that I'm providing you guys with solid information that you can take and use in your game. I want to give you stuff that's valuable to you in your jiu-jitsu that you can, benefit from. So I hope you enjoy. Feel free to comment something, say hello in chat. I'll be stoked to say what's up. All right, I'm going to get started. If you have any questions, let me know. I like to answer questions, especially here on the podcast. But let's get started. Let me know how the audio is as well. First thing, go. All right, so I'm going to start with basic commentary as if I was just straight commenting the matches, and then I will give some insight afterwards. We have Mauricio versus Nathan. Nathan shoots into a double leg, but Mauricio right away locks a front headlock. It's pretty tight. I know Mauricio does have a very strong front headlock. It's one of his best weapons. But I think he decided to save his energy on that one. Oh man, Nathan goes for a knee slice, but is a little bit overcommitted, and Mauricio gets to the back. Mauricio on the back here. He's got an underhook, and his choke hand is being controlled by Nathan's. Nathan is doing a good job of defending that choke hand, so Mauricio cannot sink in the choke, but Mauricio switches the choke to the other side. He uses his other hand and gets it a little bit higher up onto the shoulder of Nathan. It's all about the hand fights here. Nathan's not doing too much to escape the back control. He's fighting the hands very well, but he is just not turning too much. And as I say that, he starts to rotate and gets his elbow clear. He's able to start working up. Nathan grabbing the headlock, but Mauricio is in the full guard. Nathan pushes that full guard down and works to pass the guard. Mauricio elects to stand up, and Nathan pulls into a half guard. He's shooting his underhook. He's working electric underhooks, but a very common counter to the half guard game is the headlock game. It's not somewhere you want to be against Mauricio. Mauricio's got a good head control here, and he's got the underhook, but Nathan does have a lockdown. It's hard to see from here, but I think Mauricio's cleared his knee. Nathan working on pushing the knee back. Mauricio is locking this front headlock up, trying to create pressure on the neck. Really good moves from both players. Good transitions. I like their knowledge of if they're safe, if they're in danger, they know. We're in a Z-guard situation. Mauricio is able to pass. Little eye roll from Nathan. He knows, he's getting put in a bad position here. Mauricio's strong press, but Nathan able to get his knee back inside. Just for a second, though, it looks like Mauricio's passing again. Nathan goes for a bridge. Excellent timing. And gets to a standing position. Leg whip pass into judo side control. Excellent movements here from Nathan. He's completely 180'd the position. Now he's on top, controlling that bottom arm. He steps into the mount, but it looks like Mauricio is able to catch and put Nathan in a lockdown. Excellent bridge by Mauricio. Still in the half guard position. Nathan, excellent lockdown control. Mauricio trying to slide up. Nathan does have an underhook on his left side. Arm triangle from the top half guard. He's starting a knee slice. This is not looking good for Nathan. And that's it. That's a wrap. Good match. Really, really good match. Both guys showed some excellent technique here. Good stuff. Let's get that hand raised. Very nice. Good match. Okay, quick breakdown. I will do my best to keep these quick. Don't want this podcast being 3 hours. Solid entrance here. Okay, this is the first thing I want to address is, can I do this intermission? Okay, I guess that's a good overlay. Some just right away some things that I want to think about for both people. First with Nathan, there was multiple times in the match, like first, both parties did really good. Especially Nathan. I think Nathan showed some of the best transitions as far as like just knowing where he's at, understanding like where to defend, what to look out for. He showed how to get his guard back. He showed that he could get up and reverse the position. He showed a lot of really great movements here. What I want to highlight is the movements are important, and the knowing the techniques is very important, and he showed that very well. But what he did not show was mat strategy for specific opponents. Now, it's, as I said, it's important for you to know the techniques, but it's just as important, if not more important, to know your opponent, to know what they're good at, to know what they're bad at, and to know how to approach them and what techniques to use on the specific opponent. You can't just go with any technique on anyone. You really should approach every match differently. And some opponents you're going to do some techniques, and some you will avoid and do different techniques. And what I was seeing is Nathan was constantly giving up his neck. So this is one thing which I was actually surprised Mauricio wasn't able to finish, which was in the beginning here. You can even see he's in the front headlock. And he just keeps getting put in danger with the neck. And Mauricio, we know, if you've been watching Mauricio's last matches, he's been killing guys with the front headlock. He's just a beast with the guillotine. So you do not want to be shooting in. Half guard is going to be really iffy, and you generally don't want to be putting your neck out. Anyways, let's move on. That's just like a big overview for me. So this was good, and you know what? I was really impressed with Mauricio as well. I'll continue the video after this, but Mauricio showed a lot of experience here. In his past matches, I feel like Mauricio has just been kind of rushing it and just going really really fast and not thinking enough. He was just kind of in the moment and very excited. He's naturally a really great athlete and he's very explosive. Um, so a lot of times, guys like that have trouble slowing things down, being a little bit more technical. But he really showed his patience here, as you can see with his first move. He the guillotine comes. It's in one of his favorite positions, but he feels like it's not going to work out, so he lets it go in transition. So I think I was really impressed with Mauricio um, in this whole tournament. All right, front headlock. As I said, it doesn't look like it was working out. Let's take a look at this pass real quick. Nathan is in the... It's like a DMs with the leg on top. It's kind of like a Z-guard. So I've been trying this as well. Passing through the Z like this with that outside leg knee slice. But this knee shield is in the way. It's very hard to get your weight down. And he does get the weight down. So look at this. Nathan pushes his weight down into the Z. He's trying to do a twister pass here. But Mauricio just kind of extends his leg, and at the same time as Nathan was dropping his hip down, Mauricio shifts his hips just slightly and is able to get the back of Nathan. Nathan is trying to... Let's use our pen here. Nathan wants to take his hip and put it on the floor on Mauricio's shoulder. He wants to swing his hip wide here, drop the hip down, and work that guard pass. But the problem is he's a little bit impatient with this pass. He should have something on this leg. He should have like a staple. And there's just too much distance here. Look at this frame as well of Mauricio's. Mauricio's got that solid hip frame. So it's going to be hard for Nathan to just drop down on top of this frame. You generally have to beat the frames in order to finish the guard pass. So he kind of just did a blind pass attempt right here. And that's what made it so easy for Mauricio to just shoot his hips out a little bit, make a small adjustment, and now you're giving up the back. It's something you have to be very aware of when you do twister passing, which is you can't give up your back when you do it. And it just comes with experience. So I like this right here. Nathan is doing a good job of fighting the hand of Mauricio. It's a 2-on-1 grip. He's doing a good job of controlling the primary choke hand. So Mauricio's having trouble shooting the choke. But I like what Mauricio does here. Take a look at Mauricio's right arm now. So as Nathan is fighting the choke with the 2-on-1, Mauricio takes his other hand and shoots it over the top of all of the other hands. That way the right arm now is on top. And now he starts to shoot the right hand through as the choke hand. And as you can see right here, man, this could have been a wrap. Look at that. Like, that's really great positioning. If he latched that hand on the shoulder, which it is, he could have finished right here. This was right about here. That's a time to go Gable grip, in my opinion. This is a good time to go Gable. I know he was being patient, and maybe the best, he did win, so maybe the best option was to just let it go the distance a little bit more and not go for the sub right away. However, Another option could be to finish right from here. Look at that. That's deep. Even though Nathan has the 2-on-1 right here, Mauricio has a solid grip on that shoulder, and it's going to be hard for Nathan to just pull it down at the wrist. You really got to go after the fingers back there. Um, Mauricio could have taken his right hand or his left hand and then bring it underneath, lock that gable. He's got good head position right here. Whip on a body triangle with that, it could be over right there. But Nathan did a good job of pulling that choke down. And I like this. He goes for a roll here. He rolls, but his head is always on the wrong side. So check this out. Can we rewind? Let's see about here. So that's something Nathan needs to work on, is his back escapes. Notice his head is on the overside. It's very hard to do any type of safe haven on this side. If you do go to this side, you can escape if you clear your elbow. And let me show you what I mean by that just briefly. I don't want to go over this too long. But this elbow right here. So generally we want to safe haven. That means Nathan needs to get his head over to this side of the mat, over here. And then he can pin his head to the mat, and then he can start shoulder walking and pulling the grip down the body. That's going to free up Nathan's, that's going to free up the back control so Nathan can escape. The other way to escape is, yes, you can be on this side. I like to do it a lot. But the key is going to be clearing this elbow. What Nathan would have to do is shift his hips out further and then drop this elbow down to the mat, and using the forearm as like a frame against the ribs and hips, and then eventually he could just kind of work his way out, eventually shrimp in, and he could escape. But he didn't move. He didn't do that. So he's just on this side, the overside. He's on the overside of the arm, and that's not somewhere you want to stay. My recommendation is generally you want to work towards the safe haven. Put pressure on your partner's body. As you see, Nathan did start leg pressing right here, but for whatever reason, he was not able to get to the side. You know what? And look at that. He goes for it, and that's what makes Mauricio change. So this happens a lot where I'll say like he should have done something, and then I'll play the video. I'm like, oh wait, he did do that. So you're proving me wrong here, which is good. I shouldn't be so judgmental. Basically, he does what I was saying. He got to the other side. Look at this. He shifts, and he's going for the safe haven. But as he's doing this, Mauricio sniffs it out and switches. As Nathan is trying to go safe haven, look at that. Now, Mauricio has double overs. And that's trouble. Now there's no safe haven because it's just a choke, and the other hand is not even under. This is the time, though, to do what I was saying, the first escape, which is going to be clearing the elbow. Because if you're on the overside, you're on this overside. A lot of people say this is like the strong side. But the issue is that there's nothing stopping Nathan from rotating his shoulders in this direction and also sliding his hips out this direction and turning and facing Mauricio. So if someone has a choke on you and they don't have a seatbelt, the underhook on the seatbelt is an excellent move because you can stop them from rotating. But if you're just on the choke, you only have control of the head and neck, which can be a problem if your partner can use their shoulders and shift. Okay, so notice Nathan has the left hand is the one he needs to clear the elbow. So I'll highlight it again. He's got to clear this. What does that mean? It means he's got to shift his body inward towards Mauricio so he can get his elbow down to the floor. Once the elbow's down to the floor, you can start to push off. That's what I was saying before. Just want to be extra clear, especially on this side. So if you can't safe haven, you got to work on that. Unable to, he should, I would recommend getting back to a leg press or just rotating the shoulders. And yeah, Oscar's calling it out. He's yelling, turn in, turn in, turn in. And Mauricio, notice, man, I could probably break down one match for an entire hour if I really wanted to. So I'll try not to. But this is important as well when it comes to the back control. So I should really come up with a name for that, like the opposite safe haven. It's got to be like a dangerous haven because it's not safe. A safe haven is safe. You're getting to the underside, but this one is like a dangerous haven because you're going towards the choke side. But look, this is what I'm talking about. Nathan starts to turn in. Oscar's yelling it out to him. Turn in. He even turns in, and he rolls. It's almost like a dangerous dark haven so that he can continue moving out. And this is what I'm talking about, shifting himself out. Now, he's losing alignment, and now look at this. I told you. This elbow's got to clear, right? That's what I was saying before. He's going to slip it underneath. Watch. Boom. Now it's over there. And now we're in full guard. One thing Mauricio should have done was switch his hips. When you're on the back, you need to, yes, keep control of the upper body, but the hips are key. If you ride the hips, you ride the person. So look at this. Where are we? Where's good? This is good. He's square. But what happens is Nathan starts to shift the hips. He shifts the shoulders. He's shifting out. And Mauricio is so focused on the choke that he doesn't realize Nathan is getting his hips out. I don't even know if I was realizing this before as well. And now look, after he hits that roll, look at the leg positioning of Mauricio. Mauricio's legs are off on the side of the hip now. And then look at the angle of Mauricio's hips. They're no longer stacked on top of each other. Mauricio's like off at an angle. And that's not good unless it's a different position like a pre-web. If you just have regular leg hooks, you're working the choke, you want to be squared up generally to maintain the back control. Because look, he was able to shift his hips and now he's out. Alright, let's move it along. Let's get through this. He pulls guard. Cool. Lockdown. I like this right here. Notice Nathan goes immediately for the underhook. And that's what I'm talking about with just his technique is getting better. You can see right away he knows what he wants. He's going after it. And he's taking the underhook and he's going to work for electric chair or other moves with this underhook. That's a lot of times beginners don't even know that like you need to get that underhook right there. In the half guard, you generally want the underhook. The problem is, remember what I was saying before, again, you need to play a game against specific opponents. And by taking this half guard and underhook game, you're giving up your head a lot. And it's just not worth it. Trust me, you don't want anyone grabbing your head for any reason. Unless you're really confident in your ability to work through that. If you're really confident that your opponent does not have the firepower to make it happen here. But we've all seen Mauricio has a good front headlock. I would not advise someone to do this technique on Mauricio because of this. Now Nathan is in danger right here. Now he's just fighting and struggling, making sure he doesn't get tapped. Look at that. Mauricio's got a big-ass bicep. He's crushing the head right here. I don't want to be in that. So Nathan tries to roll up, but Mauricio's got good balance and base here. Mauricio has good headlock control. And look at this. He starts to get his foot free. This lockdown is not very efficient. And Nathan is struggling just to keep the half guard. Mauricio ends up passing right here through the Z. Let's see here. Why? We don't have a good camera angle on the feet. But it looks to me like Mauricio's controlling that top leg. So Nathan cannot get good pressure into the hips. And that's why Mauricio was able to just leg over the top. Also, Nathan's bottom leg is not hooking. Or maybe it was, I just can't see it. But the bottom leg's got to be hooking. I like this frame. Nate's got a good frame. kind of framing the leg, but he's not able to shrimp, or is he? He gets that knee in, yes. Excellent job. Look at this. He's got the frame that we've been working that in the Jiangji class. Bottom frame. Now he's able to shrimp and get his knee inside. But he just gets the knee in. It's not a whole lot of... Okay, he gets in both knees. He's in a Z guard. But Mauricio straightens his leg. And just by straightening, it kind of... Okay, this is the issue. Nathan has a Z guard right here. But then Mauricio straightens his leg. And Nathan tries to go full guard. But in that time, that's when Mauricio jumped to the side again. And Nathan wants to go full guard, but Mauricio drops his hip into twister a little bit too much, and Nathan's able to bump him over the top. Excellent guard pass right here. Throws the legs to the side. Excellent judo side control here. This is where Nathan wants to be. Here's another tip. If I was Nathan, I would understand that I got top position, and now you gotta ride the top position. Okay, you have a much stronger and heavier opponent. You need to really get a lot of mileage out of this top position. So that means base. Like, if you get on top of a big guy, the first thing you got to think is this big guy is going to do like a buck and roll. He's going to try and roll me because he's got a strength advantage. He's just going to power me over. So as soon as you get on top, you need that. That should be your first thought, is basing. I see even high-level guys, they're concerned about the submission. They're concerned about getting to the mount. They're concerned about advancing. But you got top position. So just hang out in top position and really take advantage of the opportunity that you got on top, because you don't want to be on bottom. So that's the reason you need to prioritize top position, especially on a bigger opponent. As you see here, Nathan has the head and arm, but Mauricio just powers him over with this body lock. Boom. Now Mauricio's back on top. And then let's take a look at this finish. So Mauricio has an underhook here, and Nathan, his underhook is just on the outside. It's not against the ribs, and that's why Mauricio is able to just use his hand. He just kind of C-grips it and pushes it up. Mauricio is able to get his head to the mat, and then he's able to start working the guard pass. Once he's past the guard, Nathan knows that's a wrap. Mauricio's got a hell of a squeeze, and it's over right there. You just got to keep your arms in. And what happened is that originated from, I believe, here. But what I would recommend is Nathan should be posting on the hip, or sorry, on the knee, right? Overhook, straight arm, lockdown. Overhook, straight arm, lockdown. We do that every EFG, and he's got his lockdown coming in. He's got his overhook. Maybe he does have a straight arm, and I'm judging, but Mauricio's able to take that underhook away from him. He's able to take that straight arm away, and he's able to get underneath it and start driving the arm up of Nathan. Big tip for Nate right here is I would recommend, he had his overhook in, like over here, but he let it go for whatever reason. I would play single-legged mermaid, get to butterfly guard, and start attacking from butterfly guard with sweeps, or get all the way to full guard from that single-legged mermaid. Especially on a big, strong dude like this, I'm not a fan of playing half guard against guys like this with a strong front headlock game, a Darce game. You want to get to full guard or butterfly guard. They're not going to be able to front headlock you from those positions. From half guard, from the lockdown, I've seen a lot of people get tapped with headlocks from the lockdown. So just be aware who you're going against, and have a diversity of different paths. Right? Nathan might be really good at this path. And that's fine. That's good. You need to have that in your pocket. But you also need to have another path in case you come across a certain type of guy where that path is not going to be great against that opponent. So that's pretty much it. I would recommend Nate to work on the single-legged mermaid to butterflies and then the sweeps right after that. But a solid match by both gentlemen. They showed a lot of patience. They showed a lot of experience. They're both white belts, so they did really well. Let's move on. Hopefully, not every breakdown will be that long. I'll try and speed it up because I don't know how much time I have. I gotta get going eventually. Okay, we have Gilberto versus David. All right. David jumps on a front headlock. Gilbert is framing the neck. He's trying to fight the hands now. Gilbert doing a good job of staying heavy, shoulder pressuring in. He's not letting David get the high elbow grip. David's still working for it. Just trying to find it. But chooses it's not there. Goes to a mission control, but Gilbert's posture is too strong here. Now Gilbert is driving forward. His hands are on the inside, but he's getting a little heavy. Looks like he's going to get swept, and right away David shifts his hips into the armbar position. Solid win. Let's see here. Alright, quick breakdown. First thing, what happens here? I think Gilbert just shot with his head low. Let's see this. Okay, I think Gilbert was thinking three things at once. I think he was thinking guard pull. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. But it looked, just from this angle, it looks like he might be thinking about pulling guard, getting that low. Then he might also be thinking about Imanari. Maybe that's what he was thinking, or just in general. I think that might be what he was doing. I think he was trying to Imanari, but he wasn't quick enough, and his head was low. David was able to just snatch on the front headlock. Yeah, like he does that like reverse high crotch movement, but it just doesn't. It gets David's too close, and he just snatches the head. From this headlock, David pulls the full guard, trying to finish the front headlock. Gilbert does a good job of framing and hand fighting to counter those. Gilbert does a good job of defending this. This was a good look right here, but David needed to get under the... Watch this. Boom. Okay. Yes. Gilbert's really strong, but just do your best to go after... And maybe hipping out would have helped a little bit too. But notice he kind of grabs his foot. But yeah, it's not always going to be there. Sometimes your opponent's posture is just too much. Here, Gilbert finally broke free of the submission. But what happens is he starts to drive forward. And I'm not sure why. I would not recommend this. He's doing a double collar tie. Notice Gilbert's hand positions are on the neck like this. Almost like a double collar tie. The reason I don't like this is because you're too stretched out. Your arms are too far away. Too far. I would recommend, if you want to be further out, hands on the biceps. Okay, hands on the biceps, he's not going to be able to control your arms as much. And then the biggest problem here is even the hands on the neck like this, the collar tie is not the biggest issue. The biggest issue is Gilbert's weight. It's far too forward. I'm not sure why he was trying to stack so hard right here. When you're in the full guard and you're on top, you need to be patient. The weight needs to be coming back into your hips. I wish I could give you, like, here is better. Like, give you, let me pull up my marker. The weight of your body needs, in when you're on top in full guard, needs to be going backwards. and then your posture needs to be going upwards. So what happened is Gilbert's weight went forward, and his posture also was coming down, going forward. That's going to result in the person on bottom just being able to swing and being able to do an easy roll. And in this case, it was really bad. His arms are extended. Another reason you don't want to have your arms that far, especially if your weight is forward, you're going to want to be wide. Okay, you're going to want to bring your elbows out and keep your hands in. And that's going to stop the arm bars so much. But his elbows were narrow. His arms were together. So, like right here, I was thinking like you might even see a dead orchard. But notice his weight is just too far forward. David just does a very small swivel, and it sweeps Gilbert, and David takes the arm halfway through the sweep. Boom. Excellent move right here. Bam. That was a quick one. Yeah, I saw it. Like, I knew he was gonna get armbarred. I knew he was gonna get armbarred about. Let's see. Where did I know? I knew here. It was at this point where his weight came too far forward, and then David relocks his legs higher and higher for the high guard. Rubber guard is cool because it's a variation of high guard. There's a lot of different high guards. That means when the legs are high up onto the shoulders. Practice the high guard. If you're a rubber guard guy, if you're a guard guy, get good at high guards. All right, low guards, it's very hard to submit people no gi with low style guards. But high guards, that's what you want. So again, person on top, you gotta just make sure your weight is not coming forward, or else they'll be able to swing out and get the arm. Simple. Where are we? Sorry, it was on intermission. You probably couldn't see. All right. Let's see. All right, back at it. Chris versus Josh Mendoza. Both sporting the 10th Planet Covina rash guard. Josh pulls guard, but gets his guard passed by Chris. Chris is here in side control. Moves into the mount. Josh is able to recover half guard. Chris shoulder pressuring. Josh has a great lockdown right here. And an underhook on both sides. He goes for the single-legged mermaid. Doesn't work out, couldn't find the foot, and now he just uses it to roll his partner over. High guard, triangle attempt right here by Chris. Josh rolls out. Josh pulls guard. Chris has just got some overwhelming pressure right here. Josh gets the full guard. Two-on-one control by Josh. He swings his leg over the top, but no hip rotation. Chris shrugs it off and gets to the back. Josh rolls and recovers his guard. Excellent movement by Josh. Opens the legs again. Looks for an arm or a triangle. Just pulling him in. Throws the leg over again. Looking for the arm. Chris going for the knee slice and completes it. Gets past the legs. A little jailbreak for Josh, but Chris just continues to rotate towards the head and stays out of the guard. Good pressure by Chris. And good survivability by Josh. He's just doing his best not to get past, and he's not conceding. He's making sure that if he gets past, he's always trying to recover. Right here, he's got his lockdown in and the underhook. Chris is here on top in the half guard. Josh has got electric underhooks, but Chris got the underhook back on the top side. Chris has a front headlock here. He's trying to lock in this choke, but it's difficult with a good lockdown on you. Chris's arm is very deep, but the other arm cannot connect. Excellent full guard recovery by Josh. High guard attempt by Josh. Chris's arm is exposed right here. Josh throws the leg over. He's trying to get to the armbar, but he's not able to switch his hips. By trying to shoot the armbar up, Chris is able to get to the side. Josh has some frames here, but Chris is just real heavy here. Chris wants to start trapping the wrists of Josh. Josh is on his side. He's turning in. Chris is doing a good job of maintaining the side control position. Josh spins, tries to get on top, but Chris takes a front headlock. Josh pulls the guard and manages to trap an ankle. Chris pulls guard, but the headlock was not there. Now Josh is able to start passing, but Josh gives his back up in the process. And man, now Chris is fighting this choke. He's fighting for the choke. Josh is fighting for his life. It's under the neck. This is deep. This is a deep choke. But Josh is controlling the opposite arm. He's controlling the secondary arm. And Josh wins. I don't even know if I got that on camera. Did I? Yeah, right there. I'm sorry. I just can't help it. I just can't help but laugh. Like, even if I get tapped by that move, I just can't help but laugh. It's such a funny move. And that's it. Winner by Josh. Excellent match. Solid. Good moves by both men. Alright, quick breakdown. Let's see. I'm not going to explain every little detail like I did on the last couple. I'm just going to go over the main points. What were the main things that I saw? Good passing by Chris. Good top pressure. I was impressed by Josh's ability to just get his guard back. Biggest takeaway from this for Josh is going to be setting up this armbar correctly. So he does a great job. Multiple times throughout the match, he gets this double wrist control grip. If you have this grip, you can really get a good grip on your partner's arm. It's hard for them to just pull out, and you can set up arm bars. The thing is, you need to be able to switch your hips out. So check this out. From this position, what Josh has to do in order to get this armbar is post this left foot of his, like, on the hip. What's the reset button? Clear screen. Oh, that's a crappy command. Okay. He has to post his foot on the hip. That way, he can switch his hips and rotate himself. So, Josh needs to switch his hips in this direction. Boom. Like that. That's going to give the armbar opportunity. But look what Josh does instead. Instead of switching the hips, he throws his leg over. People commonly think that they need to throw the leg over to get an armbar. But look, you can see that there's no control of the elbow or the shoulder. Look at this. Like, elbow, shoulder, no control. The hips are also low. That's another aspect of this move, is you need to get your hips elevated and lock onto the shoulders of your partner and the head. This is just, there's no armbar here. And what happens is, I don't know if it's exactly this time, but almost off every armbar attempt, he gets his guard passed. So you don't want to throw the leg over because you're just unhooking your guard. Like, you have a golden opportunity right here. And if you just go for an armbar that's not there, or go for a triangle that's not set up properly, you're just giving up that position. And now look, you're giving up an even worse position. You're getting your guard pass. They might take your back. They might get you in a headlock. So that's the first time we saw it. I believe we see it again kind of here. He has the full guard, but he doesn't really have any good position with the upper body. He doesn't have a high guard. And he notice this time he does swivel his hips, but he's controlling the other arm. So, like, he's controlling the left arm. That was, I think, the third time. And then right here, he throws the leg over trying to find another arm bar. But he had full guard right here. It's like, don't just let full guard go and try an arm bar that's not there. Front headlock. Good defense all around. The one thing I would say for Chris is going to be watch your arms. Same thing I said with Gilbert, is like your arms are too stretched out in the full guard. You can't have your arms extended. Let me show you what I mean. Because on a high level opponent, on someone that's like a blue or a purple belt, they will take advantage of this arm. Let's go back to here, maybe. Okay. Like this. This is a no-go. Right here, Chris is in a bad spot. He has, Josh has this double grip, this double C grip. Josh could also use it to pull his partner to the side and start working a clinch. But in general, excuse me, you need to keep your hands on the biceps. Don't try pushing your elbows down into the partner's legs to try and break their guard. Like, I think it was like right here, he's trying to use his elbows. I see this a lot, where guys, they approach the full guard and they're like, oh, I'm going to use my elbows and like drive my elbow into your leg and it's going to hurt you. So then you're going to open your guard and I'll pass. Not on a high level, guys. You're going to try that, and then look, you're going to give up all this space. You're going to give up space under your arms. You're going to, your hands, they can grab your wrists now because your arms are back. Like your arms are far back. So now they could just reach and grab your wrist. I always say hands on the biceps for the full guard. You need to maintain position and make sure your arms also don't get stretched out. I've seen sometimes, like, here's an example. You could be on the biceps, but if your arms are extended on the biceps, that could be a problem. If you feel they're switching their hips and maneuvering the hips, you might want to pull those elbows back in. Stay on the biceps, but pull your elbows in so your arms are not getting stretched out. It's just a common principle in jiu-jitsu. Don't overextend yourself. Common principle in combat, in warfare. I've heard Sun Tzu, I'm sure somewhere in that book he says don't overextend yourself. Don't let your limbs get too far away. Don't let your resources get too far away. That's something Ryan Hall was talking about a lot in his seminar was don't overextend your resources. You have a finite amount of resources. Don't waste them. You need to keep your resources tight in one central area. And when you feel necessary, when it's appropriate, boom, you can start extending at the right times, being conservative with your attacks. That's really what I would. That's just my spiel on keeping your arms in. That's gonna help everyone. That's gonna help and make sure you don't get arm locked, especially. Don't be reaching out. Don't extend your arms. Don't give your partner a free move. Josh had like 3 free arm bars right there, and if Josh just knew how to close that arm bar up, it would have been over. And then right here, just a simple fix of just don't cross your ankles. It's just classic white belt mistakes. It's okay. It happens. You don't. But hey, honestly, I've taken people's backs, and you know what? I'm not gonna name names, but when I was at the Freak Summit, I saw a couple high level black belts, world class level jiu-jitsu players, and I saw in one case they got tapped by a low level guy, comparatively, with the same move. It's like you can't take someone's back and cross your feet. You can't do it. It's regardless of what people say, it is just not optimal. Yes, there are ways of resisting the ankle lock, but it's not worth it. You should either be in just regular leg hooks, you should be trucking, you should be body triangling, and if you do cross your ankles, it's got to be at the hip. Just brief lesson, because I know a lot of people don't know this. Some people do, but you can cross your ankles. Crossing the ankles is not the issue. It's crossing the ankles in the center. Look, that's where the ankles are crossed. Maybe I can rewind and get a better angle. If you want to cross your ankles, you can. I don't really get a good angle here. But it's got to be at the hip. So the ankles crossed has to be up here at the top hip. That way the person on bottom cannot reach their legs on top of your legs and get you an ankle lock. So just basic stuff. Don't leave your legs crossed in the center. I know he was probably not thinking about it because look how deep he is on this choke. It is like 90% there. This was a wrap. Right here, it was close. You can see Josh grimacing. He's almost got it right here. If you won that wrist control fight, to Josh's credit, Josh did an excellent job of controlling this hand right here. That was his saving grace. If he didn't have that, Chris would have locked in the full rear naked, and Chris would have won. But Josh took advantage of the scenario. I don't like calling any move lucky. All right, there's no such thing as a lucky submission. You were in the right place at the right time, and you had the right thoughts, and you made the right decisions to finish that match. Doesn't matter if it was armbar or a heel hook or a choke or a ankle lock from the back. It is a legit submission, and everyone needs to know the ins and outs of that position. So props to Josh. Good job on Chris for dominating the entirety of that match. The entire time, Chris was on top, just dominating, pressuring, passing the guard multiple times. If that was a points match and it was only 5 minutes long, Chris would have won. But it wasn't. It was 6 minutes long. And in that last minute, he made a mistake. So you got to be careful. Even when you're attacking, you got to make sure you're not getting attacked. This is a dangerous game we play. All right, I'm going to take a quick intermission. I'm going to get some G Fuel, and I will be right back. Oh, wait. Be right back. That should work. Yo, I am back. Sorry for that. I needed some liquid in my body. Alright, here we go. Moving on. Who's next? Oh, this was a fun one. Jason Quizone. Oh, I kind of like how I do this. Alright, Jason versus David. Alright, so we have Jason versus David. David goes for the guard pull. He's in a quarter Z position. Jason is content to just get heavy with that knee. Slides into side control, gets past the legs. Now David is on the recovery. He's trying to shrimp. He's trying to move. He's trying to escape here. David goes for a little arm trap. Jason goes for the mount. And right into a whip pass. Back inside control. Wasn't sure about that scramble, but we ended up in a leg lock position. David is in a calf slice position right here. It is like a backwards bear trap. His coaches are calling out for the submission, but I'm not sure if it's there. Jason is in a calf slicer, but I'm not sure how much pressure is actually in there. Oh, oh God. Thank you. See, it takes me to do that to get someone to chat. What's up, howdy ho? All right, gotta restart it. My bad. I should just stop using that screen, huh? Okay. All right, so Jason versus David. Jason is on top, working the heavy knee slice. Goes into twister side. Side control. Jason steps over. Jason's on top. Slices through this guard. Heavy knee on belly press. David throws his leg over. Ends up in a 50-50. Looks like a calf slicer position for David. So David's on top with this modified calf slicer. There is a possibility he could use this for a submission. I'm not sure if he's aware or what he's thinking about this leg positioning. But now Jason's on top. However, Jason is still in this modified calf slicer position. Jason doesn't seem to mind. He doesn't even seem fazed by it. Jason uses his other leg to push away. Solid move. And babies be running on the mats. Alright, now Jason wants to pull guard. Jason's playing bottom position. Ashi slide in attempt. Goes for the knee slice. Default hands. He's moving into a quarter shell. Back step into a leg. We're in double trouble. Excellent move. Solid position here for Jason. No heel hooks allowed in these white belt competitions. I am debating on taking out reaping as well. We'll see. But this is technically a reap. We're in the honey hole position. Now it's definitely a reap. He reaps it to the outside. Outside ashi, but inside triangle. This is a real bad position for David. David is just in survival mode at this point. And but it seems like Jason's having a hard time getting to a finishing position. Jason looking to try and get this ankle lock. Really hard to do anything when somebody has this inside triangle on you. Ooh, solid ankle lock attempt, but just, man, it's hard to finish this one. David doing a good job. Look, stone cold. David is not even fazed by this ankle lock. That looks good to me, but hard to finish this one. David still unable to address the triangle. He's doing a good job of fighting the hands and fighting the grip, but he's not able to escape. And we're just stuck here in the honey hole position. Leaning now to the inside. Oh, this looks like a good position. Looks like he's got a lot of power from here, but still unable to finish. Jason doing everything he can to finish this ankle lock. Jason lets go of it, decides to get on top. Jason, big heavy breath. Rolling Kimura attempt. And that is the end of regulation. Solid defense for David. David is doing a great job of just not giving it up. He's doing everything he can to just fight through all the bad positions. Keeps fighting. And it's making Jason tired. Alright, Jason chooses the back control. Jason brings him to the underside. David gets a hook free, but Jason changes to the truck control. We're in the buck right here. David may be looking for the arm lock from the bottom. It's possible. David clears the arm to the other side. Oh. Jason starts to look for the twister. And and loses it. Good awareness by David. Spiderweb for David. Good choice. Puts pressure into the arms. He's got 2 shallow hooks. He doesn't have a deep hook, and that's what lost it right there. I think the rest of this video is on the next one. There we go. Back to Jason. Solid position here for Jason. Shoots the rear naked, but David doing a good job of grabbing the support hand, making it difficult for Jason to finish. His hand is on the shoulder, but Jason changes, goes back to the truck control, trying to finish the... He wants to get to a twister. Very good escape by David. Jason was not controlling the leg very well. The lockdown was getting too loose, and David was able to slip out. Now David is on the back. Excellent Dark Haven attempt by Jason. It's not quite there yet. David doing a good job of following, but not good enough. Jason's able to clear the elbow and get the escape. Hello, cute noob. Same thing. Jason this time shoots the choke, starts working on trapping the hand. Using his leg to trap the arm. His finger walking to the trap. This is deep. This is super deep. Shoots the choke. Hand behind the head. This is looking deep. This is as deep as it gets. The hand is getting higher and higher on his bicep. Strong squeeze here. David is not able to get a good grip. This is not a sustainable grip. Oh man, 10 seconds left. That's it. He's just got to hold out for 10 seconds. 2, 1, time. Dang, that was deep. Talk about survivability. Last round of overtime. Spiderweb for David. Oh, the arm pops. Jason picks him up. Oh man, that was deep. But he clears the elbow, and that's it. That was deep for a second. That was extended. I think that's it. That's the end of the match. Jason Quizone wins the match. Okay, quick breakdown. 1 minute breakdown. What was the most important thing from that match? Quick recap. Let's go back. There was a lot that happened. There was a lot of stuff that happened. I can't really say there was one thing that stuck out to me that could have made or broke the match. Trying to think. Now, there's all these little things that I could cover. I don't want to, because that was a long match, and there was probably, I don't know, 20 different topics I could talk about as far as hand positions and guard passes and leg configurations and what to do in each of those positions. I don't want to talk about that too much because I could just go on forever about it. What I would like to talk about is the close stuff, the finishing stuff. A little bit, to backtrack though, a little bit more conceptual. I was really impressed with David's ability to stay calm. Jason has a lot more experience. He's just has much more. I don't know. He's just been training a lot longer. He's just better. He's just better at jiu-jitsu right now. And when you go against those guys, you have to be calm and you have to approach it with like more maturity than you might even have. That's the biggest thing that I see that a lot of beginners do wrong is they go up against an opponent they know is better and they don't take it to them. You have to give your opponent your best. You have to take it to them, as we say. You got to give them everything you have and make it difficult for the other person. Because what ended up happening is Jason got really tired. Jason did an excellent job. Jason did everything right in this match. Every transition he made was the right one. Nearly every time. There were very, very little mistakes that I saw. But the biggest mistake that he made was that he was just too powerful. He was just trying to win too much. And he just spent his energy. He won the match, but afterwards he was unable to continue. And that there's something wrong with that. Unless you only have one match in the whole day, but in a tournament setting, generally you're going to have a match and 15-20 minutes later you're probably going to have another match. High school wrestling is cool. You get I think you get at least 45 minutes minimum of rest time before you're legally allowed to go again. But jiu-jitsu, there's no time frame, and especially if you do multiple divisions, you might get 10-minute rest time, and you have to be able to manage your energy efficiently. Not just for multiple matches, even if it is just one match, because in the beginning here, there was a guard pull, a guard pass, a leg exchange, and it was this was still good, but after, let's say here, after Jason was trying to finish this leg lock, Jason really burned himself out trying to finish these leg locks. It was the leg locks that really did him in. But really everything from the moment the match begun, he was just like full steam ahead. And you have to be patient, and especially be patient against guys that you're better than. Don't just go out there and be like, I'm just going to run through this guy. Because if you go in with that mentality, this is going to happen. You have to I can't say where his mindset was at, but I'm just assuming that he might have underestimated David and thought, I'm just gonna put the pressure on him and he's gonna cave eventually, which is a good strategy. But as you saw, too much pressure, you're gonna get winded. And look, after this leg lock didn't end up working out right here, you see it on his face. He's tired. He's still working through it though, so I was very impressed with his ability to just push the pace. Most people would just get tired and get exhausted, and their mind would just start to drift, and like that would be the end for most people. But Jason is super tough mentally. Like his body was exhausted at this point, but he didn't care. He's gonna roll in Kimura you and keep coming after you, which I dig. I really like that. You just have to know yourself. You got to know where your energy is at. And if you're getting gassed halfway through the match, there's a problem. And sometimes we make an error. Like in hindsight, yeah, he probably should not have put all of his energy into these ankle locks. I like though he did eventually make the decision to come up. Like it was after this, he was like, "Oh man, this leg lock's not working out." So he ended up just taking top position. I would have liked to see that a little bit sooner. But other than that, they both did really great. Again, David just did an excellent job of staying calm. If you watch the whole match, David's face was like this the whole match. Where is it? From the first second I got him on camera. For right, where is his face? I had a good shot of him. Can we find it? Oh yeah, sorry, I'm not showing the match. But right, I'll show you. I didn't get a good shot of his face. I saw it, but it disappeared. But anyway, David is just like, look at that. He's just super calm and collected. And that's something that I don't think he had in the last couple tournaments. I believe he's competed twice before this. And those, maybe just once, I'm not sure. But the first time he competed, he was much more, anxiety filled. That's what I tell people all the time is you have to get in the competition. It's not good enough to just practice in your gym. If you're trying to get to a high level, if you're trying to compete and win the big tournaments, you have to condition yourself to these smaller competitions in order to prepare yourself for the big ones. Experience is everything. Competition experience is huge. It's one thing to roll in the gym. It's a complete new thing to do this on the big stage when people are watching, the camera's on in your face. It's completely different. There's a higher tempo to the match. It's a lot different. And don't think you can just get away with improving just in your gym. Everyone has the different goals in mind. Some people don't want to compete, and that's fine. But if you want to be the best version of yourself, if you really do want to compete one day, you have to condition yourself. You have to do small competitions. You need to do these in-house tournaments. You need to do small tournaments, and that's what's going to prepare you for the big ones. All right, that's it. Let's move on. All right, got Mauricio versus David. Oh, it's lagging out. Hold on. We are on intermission. Thank you. I changed it. But it's kind of lagging on me. My video is lagging. What's up? Alright, this should be better. Maybe not. Jesus. I don't know why it's lagging. Okay, that's a little better. Kind of. Maybe I just gotta let it load. I don't know. Hopefully it's better. Let me just let it play. Might improve on its own. Yeah, I think that I just have to let it be. Alright, we are in the standing position. David goes for an arm drag to a double leg. And it freezes. Good double leg. Oh man, this is not working out. I don't know why. Sorry guys. Let's try the next video. That might help. You know what I think I'm gonna have to do in the future is just like download these to my hard drive. It's on the Dropbox, which is probably why it's giving me problems. Give me a minute. Quick intermission, guys. Be right back. Alright, guys, sorry about that. I'm not sure what's going on. Just the video is lagging, so sometimes you just gotta let it pause. Next time, I'm gonna download the videos straight to my hard drive instead of using Dropbox. Um, yeah, sometimes it's good, but sometimes it's a little choppy. Anyways, let's try and get through this. Hopefully it works. David looking for hand control. Right into the arm drag, into a double leg takedown. Stuffed by Mauricio. Mauricio has an underhook. David is in in a mission control position. Full guard for David. He's doing a good job of attacking the head, pulling the posture down, looking for a high guard position as well. Mission control here. Good mission control. Gets a zombie as well. Right away he's looking for the meat hook, but Mauricio's able to see it coming. He's able to posture through. David shoots the triangle. Mauricio hard pressuring forward. Mauricio's arm is caught as David adjusts. Mauricio brings his hand back inside. This is a near triangle position. I believe Mauricio still has his grip together, though. It's very hard to finish a triangle if their grip is together inside the lock. Even with good angle, this could be a tough one. David has an excellent triangle, moves into the armbar, but the triangle comes loose. Arm triangle position for David. This is good control here. You could get submission here as well. Mauricio might be in submission danger. Definitely not fun to be right here. Mauricio doing a good job of hanging tight. David decides to let go of the arm triangle control. And David kind of just bullies his way on top. Mauricio still recovering from that transition. He's looking a little tired here. David is on top in the half guard, and he has a good cross-face pressure. He's got good pressure on Mauricio's head, but Mauricio's doing a good job of keeping his lockdown together. Bridge attempt for Mauricio, but David has really good base here. Guillotine attempt by David. Mauricio takes top position from the guillotine, but David shrimps the hips out and gets to the back position. Resetting, coming off the mat. We're in the full guard. David right away sits up to break the posture and throws up a high guard, but Mauricio just shrugs it off. Mauricio is very strong. However, David does the right thing, gets on top here. Goes back to the guillotine. David is doing a good job of using this guillotine to stay on top, and as I say that, gets rolled over. Mauricio hip bumps and gets on top. Mauricio is working the guard pass. He slices across. He's getting to the mount now. This is not good for David. David struggling to get his guard back. Eventually works his way back into the half guard, but Mauricio has a front headlock, one of his favorite positions, but let's go of it. We're still fighting for this guard, but it looks like Mauricio is just very dominant with the knee slice. But again, it's just this back and forth pummeling. David gets the half guard, but Mauricio just slices back through. Mauricio digs his head under the arm. This is not looking good for David. Mauricio's able to get his head underneath the elbow. And right here, it looks like it could be over. Arm triangle. David goes for the bridge, but that's going to be it right here. It looks like a wrap. 5, 4, 3. With 3 seconds left in the match, Mauricio finishes it. 3 seconds. Solid work by both men. Excellent match. Alright. Quick recap. Both of them did very well. Mauricio is just strong as hell. And he's like 145, I think. And then David is really strong for his weight, but David's only 125 pounds. So he's given up 20 pounds, which is really important. Even still, David did a really great job of putting the offense on him. I would say David's big mistake was there was 2 times he went for the guillotine from the top position and lost the top position. So he was on top here. This is a good position to go guillotine, but if you're not going to get that guillotine, stay on top. And also, I'm not a fan of getting the guillotine and committing to a full guard. It's not necessary. You should commit to the half guard where your leg is going over the back and your shin is across the hips if you have the headlock. That way you can always bail and go back to top position. If you're going to do a headlock on someone, always stay on top until you are ready to finish. Again, if you're guillotining, don't pull guard. Don't be on the bottom unless you are about to finish. Because if you're just using it for control and then you pull guard and you want to try and finish, if you don't finish right there, your opponent now has top position. And that was David's big advantage in this, is he was able to shoot submissions at Mauricio, but he was unable to finish. And by not finishing, he was still on top. Like, look, he went arm triangle from the bottom. It didn't work out. He ended up getting to the back. Didn't work out. He's on top. That's great. Wonderful. He's really good on top. That's where you want to stay. Stay on top on a larger opponent. They have a strength advantage on you. If you go on the bottom, their strength advantage is now magnified with gravity. Excuse me. But if you're on the bottom, if you commit to this headlock, now you're on the bottom position. You're back to square one. So again, if you're gonna take a front headlock, stay on top with it until you are ready to finish. Both of those opportunities put him on the bottom position. And then right here, he got his guard back a couple times, but Mauricio just did a great job of just being relentless with the guard pass. In the past, I would have thought, like, if someone would have put him back in the guard, like right here, he gets his guard back, David gets his guard back, and then Mauricio, instead of focusing on the headlock, he's focusing on getting back into the mount. And that's what I like to see, is people focusing more on the position than the submission. This is submission grappling. The most important thing is the submission. But if you cannot dominate the position, you're going to have a very hard time in finishing your positions, or even just getting to finishing spots. So props to both of them. There was a couple real close opportunities for David to finish this one. Like, there was a lot of great spots. Also, meat hook for David. Work on the meat hook. He was looking for it for a second, but just glitched on it and ended up losing. Here, great triangle entrance, but Mauricio's forward pressure was just too much. I would have liked to see more hip movement from David in that position to disengage, get more distance. This was tight, but Mauricio was just too strong here. He had his hands locked together, I believe. If not, actually, at this point, he did not have his hands locked together. The triangle choke is not here. Even if they're not locked together, the reason is Mauricio's hand is stuck inside the triangle, hit the free hand. So right here, another great finishing spot. It could have been over if David just transitioned to the armbar right here. He's working on securing this triangle, but the triangle wasn't working before. So right here, free hand. That hand is for the taking. All David would have had to do is throw his leg over, control the wrist, And boom, tight armbar right here. But it didn't happen. Mauricio was able to scramble, and the match continued. And again, big lesson. Top position, very important. When you go against big guys, that should be your number one concern, especially when you go against big guys. Get on top. I say it over and over again, but I see it all the time. I gotta keep making note of it. Next, we have David Coraliza versus Josh Mendoza. We have Josh versus David. David looking for a foot sweep. Josh's coach is telling him not to pull guard. He's going to do better off with more of a wrestling attack, and that's some great coaching advice right there because he ends up on top in side control. From here, David is framing, but Josh is able to get under the elbow. This is not a good position for David. His arm is trapped across the face, and David is in some deep, deep water right here. Josh gets off to the side in this arm triangle position. David trying to frame with his other arm. He's trying to bring his elbow across, and he does. He gets his elbow clear, survives the arm triangle just barely. Half guard here for David on the bottom. Josh goes for a ninja roll, but a little mistimed. You're going to want to do that from 3/4 mounts, not the lockdown. Trust me, do not roll. You can actually hurt your own leg. David trying to get his lockdown together, but for whatever reason, he just can't get it. The feet are not going in the right spot. He's unable to get his right leg under his partner's leg. And Josh is just dominating the upper body. He's just driving forward. He's got his underhook on the far side of the legs. He's got double underhooks, so maybe not, but he did have underhooks. David is able to pummel and get to full guard. Excellent transition by David. Josh is controlling the wrist here. I like this. This is good. Goes to the biceps. Josh is doing a good job of listening to his coaches here. It's a very important quality when competing is the ability to listen, the ability to stay calm and listen to your coaches. David's coach is telling him to move from here. You don't want to just stay here in the full guard forever. David's doing a good job of just controlling Josh, but he's not able to mount any offense. David tries to set up a submission. He tries to get his hips out, but unable to. Josh postures, and now Josh is working on the guard pass. Ankle control, he throws it to the side. Can he secure it? No. David shoots his leg over for the reverse mount from the bottom. I guess reverse guard. Josh gets to the side. Smashes inside control. Does not have an underhook though, but he's working for it. Nope. David turns in, looking to get his guard back. Josh steps over for the mount position. Strong pressure from Josh here. He's got this chin wrap. Chest in the face. Now Josh has got the underhook on the arm. Again, listening to his coach as well, conserving his energy well. Excellent top position here for Josh. Josh trying to control the arms of David. David doing his best to stay tight. He's trying to frame, but David is not doing anything to address the legs. That's going to be a big one for the mount. If you're on the bottom, generally you want to start working on unhooking the legs of your partner. Josh now gets the underhook on the other side. Josh's left arm is ratcheting higher and higher. He's trying to bring that arm up. Excellent move. David tries to frame, but Josh is able to move that arm across and get to a gift wrap. Josh has an excellent gift wrap with Kimura grip. Josh might want to look to take the back here. Yep, and he does. He gets to the backside. He changes to the body lock and I think just kind of spine cranks him for the finish. Excellent win by Josh. That was very impressive. Well done. Okay, let's recap. So, man, I gotta say, first thing, great match by both guys. Josh did a wonderful match here. I'm really impressed by Josh. Josh has been training more than anyone this last couple months. Since he started, Josh has been to more practices, more field trips. He's been coming to tournaments he's not even participating in. He's going to MMA fights. He's going to HQ field trips. He's done every in-house tournament we've had, and he's there every goddamn day, and it's paying off. Nobody's learning as fast as him. Nobody's adapting as quickly, and he's not some super athlete. He's not some, genius. He's just, he's here. He's showing up, and the more you show up, the more practice you put in into a good program like the one we have, the better you're going to get. It's that simple. Show up to class, go to field trips, and you're going to learn. I was impressed, especially with this win. He got an arm triangle, and he lost by arm triangle twice in the last in-house tournament. So it's showing that he can learn from his mistakes as well. And not only is he learning from those mistakes, but he's actually making those mistakes his own weapons. So it's really cool to see how far he's came, how much better he's getting. Another big thing that Josh has been doing is rolling. Okay, he goes to HQ and he rolls. He rolls with brown belts. He rolls with the top dogs at HQ, and he never backs down from a roll. I'm not saying you need to always say yes to rolls, but you need to get your roll time up. It's going to pay off. It's going to build your experience, especially as a white belt. I see a lot of white belts that are like, they just come to class and they just do the class and they're like, oh, it's good enough. I don't need a roll. Or they don't show up to open mat. And like, that's a big mistake. As long as your body's healthy, as long as you don't have, crazy injuries that you need to worry about, you should be rolling as much as you can. I don't want to get into like balancing your training too much, but you need to push the pace, especially if you're just getting started, especially if you are a young guy and you have like a lot of, you have time and you have ability, you don't have all these nagging injuries. Put the time in. It's going to pay off, and as you can see, Josh is just making big strides. So here we go. I like how Josh is listening as well. He's not just, crazed. He's very focused, and he's listening to his coaches. His coach is called out to go for a takedown instead of a guard pull, and that really helped right here. Right away, David is in big arm triangle danger. Little tip for David, make sure this frame doesn't get bypassed. You got to have that frame in the neck. It's looking good there, but you can't let somebody push that frame up. This could have been a wrap. If Josh just got his head to the mat there, that would have been a wrap too. Excellent survivability by David. He really worked through that one. David had a few good transitions, but as you can see, I even highlighted the feet there. He was not able to get his lockdown together. That's something that just has to happen, is just automatic lockdowns. You got to know if your lockdown is correct or if it's incorrect, and that is an incorrect lockdown. So you just got to get more reps on those lockdowns. Right here, I like Josh's instinct and his just like ability to go for stuff. But right here, this was a big mistake. He went for this back take. He tried to hit some spinning back take, like a speed bolo or a samurai or a ninja roll, and it wasn't there. But stays patient, gets on top. Excellent moves here. This was one of David's best movements right here. He was in the half guard, gets some space, and he's able to bring his knee through. He wins that battle of the knee and gets to full guard. My recommendation is just for David, get better at your transitions from the lockdown, and also be able to get into full guard as well. Or he did get into full guard, but being able to have some more attacks from the full guard, because he was in full guard quite a bit in this match, and if he had more knowledge on what to do from full guard, he would have been able to put Josh in some danger. Let's see. Other than that, Josh had some great guard passes. His patience was on point right here. He was able to start trapping these arms. The underjacks are everything. Like right here, he doesn't have much, but he's able to get an underhook right here. Even if it's just a little elbow hook, but that little hook on the elbow can take you all the way into an arm triangle or even a gift wrap. Josh, excellent technique here. Transitions into the back take, and right here Josh is just doing a back crank. He's just like a spine lock, and that's a solid move right there. He's got like this almost body triangle, but the Kimura grip on the neck it's really high up on the end of the lever of the spine. It's very high up on the neck, and then compounded with the legs on the hips, just bowing his spine backwards creates a lot of pressure. It is not fun to be in there, and that's what happens. You make sure you want to tap to those two. Don't try and fight through that. You don't want a spine injury. That'd be horrible. And that's it. Good match. Moving on. I gotta run through these quicker. Just got quite a few. All right, I think this was a longer one, but let's see. Back take for Gilbert. Jumps on the back. Shoots a rear naked choke right away. Dang, this is deep. This is dangerous for Mauricio, but Mauricio stays calm. Fights that elbow up. He knows the choke is a little off. Then Gilbert is starting to lose back position. Good move on Gilbert. Stays on top. And right away shoots his arm for this ninja choke. It's a Japanese necktie with a ninja choke grip. So he's got no arm. Very dangerous position for Mauricio. This is not somewhere you want to be. Oof. This is deep. It's tough. It's very dangerous for Mauricio. But as you can see, Mauricio got his hand inside the lock. And that's going to help relieve pressure. Good survivability for Mauricio. He gets out of the initial ninja choke, I believe. It's hard to kind of see the hands. Mauricio tries to elevate. Mauricio pressures forward, creating a scramble. Gilbert on top here, sprawling. Mauricio takes him down with a high crotch and single leg. He's got his hip down. But Gilbert is scooching out to the back. Mauricio clears his arm to keep him down. And now Gilbert is on top. Sorry, Gilbert is on bottom with the lockdown. Gilbert doing a tie clinch, but Mauricio is just very strong with the knee slice coming forward. Gilbert still up on the shoulders, and Mauricio is able to start sliding up the body. Gets to the mount, and now Mauricio is just pressuring hard on the upper body of Gilbert. Okay, I'm going to do fast forwarding when I can because I want to make sure I don't run out of time. I want to make sure I get through the breakdown. The breakdowns are really what are most important anyways. But as we can see, Mauricio is just strong from this top position. Gilbert is having a very hard time recovering. I like how Gilbert is staying tight though. He's not giving up any openings. Doing a very good job of keeping his arm safe while still working on his defense. Goes for the Hail Mary mount escape, but gives up the arm triangle position in the process. He's telephoning against his head, relieving pressure off the arm triangle. And there's just a few seconds left in the match, but Gilbert's able to survive. He's all laughing. He's having a good time out there. All right, and now we're in overtime. All right, and go. Back control for Gilbert. His hand is in good position here for the choke. It's not quite under the chin. It's on top of the chin. His coaches are calling out to triangle on the top side. Gilbert again puts his triangle on the bottom. Gilbert shoots the choke. This could be a wrap. He's got the head wrapped up, but he doesn't have his forearm under the chin. It's not quite under the chin. As you can see, Gilbert's working out. Look at that forearm. He's a beast. But even if you're strong, you got to get it under the chin. Unless you just chin crank him, which is possible, but not consistent. Time. That was the end of that. Only 1 minute maximums for these EBI OTs. And now Mauricio's turn to be on the back. Darkhaven attempt by Gilbert, but he gets his momentum stopped. Mauricio, listening to his coaches, puts the body triangle on Gilbert. Mauricio gets the hand to the trap and right away shoots behind the neck. He does not have his hand on his bicep yet, but now he's working for it. It's not quite there, but I think he's going to try and finish without it. And that's it. He had his hand on the shoulder, didn't even have it on the bicep. And that's it. It's the end of the match. Excellent match. Couple things I want to highlight. First, this crazy ninja choke Japanese necktie variation. First, this back take, incredible. Gilbert, just no fear, just went straight at him. How did he do it? Golf swing, straight to the back. Mauricio grabs his legs to defend, but Gilbert uses that to attack the neck. So real briefly. Gilbert, excellent setup to the takedown right here. I love that. I love that he's working for the takedown. Especially, like we said, good strategy to do against a bigger opponent. Mauricio rolls and tries to grab the legs. I would recommend more of a safe haven and a frame rather than trying to grab the legs. But that's what happens. Gave up his neck. Could have been over right there. If I was Gilbert, I would have tried to salvage the back position a little bit more. This choke was just not there. It looked deep. It looked scary. But it didn't have a good angle. Wasn't under the chin either. And if you're not under the chin, it's going to be hard to finish. Mauricio did a good job of staying calm here. Worked his way out. And I like how Gilbert right away put him into another deep submission. Check this out. This is what I'm talking about the Japanese necktie. So look, he originally goes for a regular Japanese necktie grip. That's when you shoot over the shoulder. But then he changes it. See that again. So this is the first one. Boom, he goes like that with the arm inside, but he makes an adjustment and he changes. He takes his arm out and goes straight just for the neck. What's crazy is Mauricio did the exact same move to Gilbert, I think, in the last competition. So it was really insane to see Gilbert do the exact same move, the exact same side, in the exact same part of the mat in the next in-house tournament. It's just mind-boggling. Literally, that's how it happened. The only thing is Gilbert was just missing one ingredient. Gilbert could have finished the match right here. This was the closest spot. This was the closest finishing spot for Gilbert. All Gilbert had to do was drop his hip over the top. Just drop the hip to the mat, and then I wish I got a better angle here, but then maybe I do. Let's see. Once he drops the hip, okay, it's a little better. So once Gilbert drops the hip on the mat, so Gilbert wants to take his hip, drop it, kind of arcing down over the head like this, landing here. Then Gilbert already has the half guard. Gilbert wants to use his leg to trap Mauricio's legs. Could be the bottom one or the top one. And then when you apply arching and bridging pressure, that's over. They're going to be tapping out. It's like a sideways neck crank. It's just like a Japanese necktie, but with no arms. It's like a ninja choke. Ninja choke is like a reverse rear naked choke or a guillotine with a rear naked choke grip. But you combine that with the Japanese necktie motion of dropping to your hip and finishing with your hips and legs. That's the ninja necktie. That's what I'm going to call it. So he could have almost finished that move right there, but didn't get to it. Almost. Mauricio gets on top. Excellent top position here. Again, I'm very impressed with Gilbert's ability to keep his arms tight. Like, he's not giving up anything. And he's working on the recover. I would have liked to see a little bit more reverse Alcatraz or Alcatraz. He needed to slide the knees down. Notice how Mauricio is very high with his knees. It's very hard to recover your guard if their knees are high mounting you. You need to use your elbows, stay safe, but push the elbows down. Use your elbows to push their knees down, and that's going to facilitate an escape. Gilbert got lucky here that the time ran out because that was deep. You never know, though. It could have not worked out. Looked like Mauricio was losing angle. For the back control, I would have liked to see Gilbert listen to his coaches right here. His coaches were yelling out, switch the body triangle, and it would have been a lot more effective if Gilbert just switched the body triangle from this bottom position to the top. Like, that makes a world of a difference with the body triangle. And also, a few months ago, one time I saw Gilbert get submitted like this, where the triangle was on the bottom, and you can get stuck in an ankle lock. So don't have your triangle on the bottom unless you're really confident that you're not going to get ankle locked and you have a solid block. I would always recommend to switch it to the top. Some guys make it work for him, but I don't like it. Most people don't. And then when Mauricio's on the back, Gilbert goes for this Dark Haven. What happens? He tries to Dark Haven, but he just couldn't generate enough momentum. And then Mauricio puts the body triangle on him. Mauricio's able to win this hand position. How does he do it? He just shoots the single wrist to the trap. And then I like how he brings this other hand behind. Look, most people make the mistake here of latching onto the bicep right away. But Mauricio shoots this arm behind the neck. And he during the whole match, during the finish, he does not even close it. Look, he makes Gilbert tap with no grip on the bicep, or very little grip. It's mostly this arm crushing through. I think he was choking Gilbert. Gilbert had a grip on the forearm. But even if you have a good grip on the forearm, you have to address the fingers. And it's very hard to address the fingers when this big forearm and elbow's in the way. So that's why this is very important, because it covers the hand. Not because you can grab your bicep, that's good too, but this is covering the biggest weakness of the rear naked choke. The weakness of the rear naked choke is the fingers here. So cover that weakness with your elbow. Alright. That's it. Moving on. I think... Are we on the last match? No? Yes? No. We still have a few more matches, I think. Next match is David versus Nathan. Start that again. Give me some audio here. Test. Let me know if it's too much. Let's start this again. I wasn't paying attention. Alright. Nathan shoots the double leg, but gives up his neck up. Oh no. Gets put in a guillotine position. Not fun to be in. He's doing a good job of framing the head, creating space, and preventing the high elbow. Nathan escapes, stays on top. Now Nathan's got him in a headlock. And now Nathan is pulling guard. And David takes top position. High elbow guillotine here for David. He's got a strong headlock grip. Nathan in the Z guard. David gets his hands together, it looks like. Nathan doing a good job of hand fighting. David doing a really good job of just controlling Nathan in this top position. As I spoke about before, oftentimes we see people just jump on the head and then they start pulling guard. But here, David is just riding the top position, staying on top. Now, I believe David has switched it to the...
No new messages.
What? Siri, shut up. Yes, you deserve that. David's got that Japanese necktie grip. I can't see the grip exactly, but it looks like a Darce grip. And then he drops to his side, And now he's finishing right here. Tap. And that's it. Just, guys, that's the exact thing I was talking about with Gilbert's match. Gilbert had a similar grip, but he just didn't have the shoulder. So it's a Darce grip, figure four grip with the arms. And then notice how David drops to the hip here. Nathan's head is trapped underneath. And Nathan's grabbing onto his leg. He doesn't really have to worry about that, but he can cross his ankles right there. He's finishing with arching pressure, and that's it. That's a wrap. Excellent match. Why did... Let me ask you. Why did that result in a win? He had a headlock. All the other headlocks we saw today, everybody's pulling guard. They get a headlock and they're like, oh, I got to finish. And they pull full guard or half guard. And then they're trying to finish. And then the headlock fails. And now they're on bottom fighting and now they're on defense. The headlock worked because, look, David did not commit to dropping down until he was confident in his finish. Look, he had a front headlock starting at, I think they made a mistake. Like he made, I don't know if it's a mistake, but he had this front headlock here. But right away, he works the sweep. He works to get on top. Now he's on top. Now look, Nathan is on top of him. Nathan wants the headlock on him. Nathan pulls guard. What happens? Now you're on bottom. Now you're on defense. And at 54 seconds, or 58 seconds, David gets his front headlock. And he holds on to it for an entire minute. Nearly, it's like 45 seconds until he drops down on his hip and looks to finish. That is why. Because he was patient with his control. When you get a dominant position on someone, you want to maximize your advantage. Don't go to a submission right away that may or may not work. Be patient. Get a dominant position, hold it, control it, take your time with it, and if it's going to be there, you will know. But don't guess. Don't take so many risks. Don't take a risk when you have the advantage. David did a good job there of controlling and slowly working into the submission. All right, moving on. Josh versus Chris, number 2. This is a long one, so I'm going to speed this up because we're going on 2 hours. 2:17. Jesus. All right, so what happens? Chris gets the takedown. Chris moves into half guard. Josh disengages. Let's see this pass. Chris throws the legs to the side, forces Josh to turn. Turtle position for Josh. Josh is just surviving. Chris has got this relentless pressure on top, looking for the Kimura grip. He's got a Kimura grip, but Josh sees it coming. Hips out. And again, Chris just passes the guard like butter. But what happens here? Chris is on top. Let's see it. He's got a solid mount position. Oh, but loses base. And Josh is able to roll up on top. Now Josh is on top, putting pressure. I think we see another reverse guard. They both have the reverse mount, the reverse guard position. But Chris is able to salvage top position. Chris, I think there's a sweep. Chris ends up on bottom. There's a reversal. Chris is on top. Another reversal. Kind of a lot of reversals. But eventually, Josh gets to the mount. What happens? What happened? How was this submission? Josh has the left arm under the head, the right arm under the head, and then he's just skydiving. Yep. Excellent sub. So, again, He's listening to his coaches. I don't know if you can hear it, but Oscar's yelling out skydive and then posture. And that's what's causing the tap. Puts pressure on the neck, and that was it. It's more of a neck crank than a mother's milk, but great submission. And Chris is doing a good job the whole match. He's dominating, passing the guard multiple times. I think he had like 5 or 6 guard passes, a few sweeps. He was doing very well. But for whatever reason, when the match got hot, when it was, neck and neck, when times got tough, he was not able to pull through. My recommendation is more rolling. Chris is better at jiu-jitsu. If I had to look at all their skills and I'd say, oh, he's good at this, they're good at that, Chris has more skills. Chris has a better jiu-jitsu game. But just because you have a better game doesn't mean you're always going to win. Just because you have better skills doesn't mean you're going to win. A lot of times it's going to come down to experience. It's going to come down to that's the big one, is experience. That is the one thing Josh has on Chris, which is more hard roll time. Josh is coming to HQ all the time. He's there every single time. He's getting hard rolls in for 30 minutes to an hour every time. He's always at class, 2 classes a day. He's always getting in the rolls. And he's been consistent for the last 3 months. Chris has been training a lot longer as well than Josh. But Josh has been grinding in those small amount of months. So it's not about, consistency is certainly important. Training over the course of many years is important. But what's more important is focus and, real focus on what you're doing. Josh has been focused, crazy focus the last few months, and it's showing right here. He doesn't have all the skills. He's only been training for 3 months, but he's doing everything he can to improve, and it's really, really showing. So props to both guys. They both did really well, but Josh just has too much recent experience, and that's what really is pulling through. And just competing. He's competed in all the in-house tournaments. All right, I think this is the last match. Rematch of David versus Mauricio. Last one. Takedown by David. Steps into the mount. David's doing a good job of just attacking. Oh, but Mauricio sweeps, and now Mauricio's on top. And David is against the wall. Not a good place if you're trying to finish a guard submission. He knows this. Not a good spot for David. He had to let go of the guillotine. And now Mauricio is setting up an arm triangle from the guard, which is legit. Do not underestimate the arm triangle from the guard. You certainly can submit people from the guard and from half guard. Mauricio listening to his coaches, posturing, and in a front headlock position of his own. David, excellent takedown right here, ends up in the mount. Single leg position for Mauricio. David goes for a sweep, but ends up on the bottom. It looked like he had a high elbow grip for a second, but did not work out. He goes to a mission control. David is still looking for guard attack. But he opens the guard, and now Mauricio can start working his passing. Mauricio gets into his favorite position, the front headlock. Mauricio looking to get those hands together. Gets a Kimura grip though, puts it behind his back, and that's it. That's a wrap. Had to call it right there. There was no escape. That was a perfect Kimura. You're not getting out of that one. Let's rewind it. Excellent match. Again, David doing very well. Goes for a double leg. Completes it. Gets on top. Looks to finish, but man, he got swept from this guillotine position. Like, he did good here, but I think he just underestimated the strength of Mauricio. I think he should have settled more for a regular mount. But ends up on the bottom here. I'll tell you this, I like how David is practicing his rubber guard, okay? David came in to our gym, previously trained at another gym, and he already had a good guard, but rubber guard is new to him, so it's not quite there yet. My advice is to continue pursuing the rubber guard. I can already tell he's going to have an excellent rubber guard one day. It's not there yet. He just needs to keep practicing. He needs to put the time in, and his rubber guard will eventually catch up to his other guard skills. He's got great arm bars. He's got great triangles, and that's really going to help his rubber guard later on. In the gi, it's a lot easier to set up arm bars and triangles when you have the gi to break posture, to control the sleeves, to control the all the fabric on the gi. You can use it to grab onto it and pull them down and set up a triangle, set up an armbar. In no gi, if you open your guard and try and throw up a triangle, try and throw up an armbar, you don't have posture control, and it's very easy for the person on top to just back out and start passing, and that's exactly what happened. See, we're in the guard here. At first, he tries the rubber guard, but he does not have his hands in a good position to control, and Mauricio is just able to. Once David goes for a more standard full guard attack, like even right here, he could still pull him back into full guard. But then he opens his legs to throw up a pop armbar / triangle, and Mauricio is able to just posture out, get away, start knee slicing, and that's the beginning of the end. Front headlock, and then for the finish, man, that was a really slick thing. Nobody saw that coming. I didn't see that one coming until it was over. This hand right here. Anytime you play the half guard, you always got to be aware of the Kimura. I would have recommended David to keep the half guard. He kind of let his half guard go as that Kimura was happening. Or at least to keep his hand inside. A big thing that the finishing move was right here. When the hand, like he's trying to grab his body, but Mauricio does a really good job of forcing the hand to the outside. And now from here, it's a wrap. It's going to just get worse and worse and worse. And that's it. Excellent match. Good skills for everyone. I was very impressed with all of these guys. Every single one of them. I'm super proud of you guys for stepping up, competing, doing your best, putting it all on the line. I'm just very proud of you guys. Especially shout out to just people that come to mind. Josh is just killing it, just training his butt off all the time. Be like Josh. That's how you're going to improve. And then David and Mauricio, they both did really excellent. Those were like the MVPs in my eyes. I'm just really excited for the future. Thank you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed. I'll do my best to keep on making these as best as I can and just improve the quality. Give me some feedback. Feel free to say, oh, this was really cool. That wasn't so great. You should think about doing this. Like, I'm really open to suggestion. I don't have a lot of experience broadcasting or podcasting or anything, so feel free to give me your suggestion to make these streams better. That's pretty much it. I will catch you guys soon. Gonna be going to practice, and who knows, might teach some of the stuff that I've learned through your guys' matches. Lastly, we have the our in-house tournaments are no longer going to be just random. Like, I've been just matching people up based on weight and skill, but going forward, we're gonna have specific weight classes. We're gonna have a championship belt for the person that wins, and yeah, it's just gonna be super cool. So make sure you're getting down to your weight. make sure you're dieting, make sure you're lifting weights. You got to get into a certain weight class, so make sure you're going to be strong at that weight class. That's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you could take something out of it, and let me know your thoughts. Feel free to comment, and I will see you on the mats. Later.